At the foothills, a young man named Gale, living in a distant village, discovered an old and abandoned mountain house among the villagers. Rumors circulated about strange events that had occurred in the house in ancient times. Gale, setting aside his fears, decided to satisfy his curiosity and leer. One evening, Gale set out towards the mountain house with a few friends. As the night fell, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. Upon reaching the house, the old wooden door creaked open. Inside, they were met with a dusty atmosphere, and the silence within seemed like an eerie melody. Gale and his friends began to explore every room in the house. As they wandered among old items and dusty curtains, mysterious sounds suddenly echoed, footsteps, as if coming from the depths of the house, were audible, yet no one was in sight. Then, in a room, they found a peculiar notebook filled with symbols. Flipping through the pages, they discovered signs indicating that the house's former inhabitants were engaged in mysterious rituals. A growing fear enveloped Gale, but with the courage derived from being with his friends, they kept. Suddenly, they heard high-pitched screams from one of the rooms. Everyone rushed there, and behind the door stood a pale figure in front of an old painting on the wall. The figure turned towards them and began speaking in a deep voice. "You should not be here. You must leave and leave." Gale and his friends recoiled in horror. However, they were immediately confronted with an intense fog that materialized. The fog surrounded them, separating each one from the others. Gale found himself alone in the midst of the fog, screaming in fear. When the fog finally dissipated, Gale was left alone in the mountain house. Everything around him seemed normal, but his friends had disappeared one by one. Gale hurriedly left the house and returned to the village, but the events he experienced left a deep imprint of fear in his mind. The families of Gale's friends became concerned about the whereabouts of their children. When they narrated the incident to Gale, they came to believe that Gale had gone mad and killed their children. They immediately called the police, and Gale was admitted to a mental hospital. The truth behind the events remained uncertain, and Gale, confined to the mental hospital, began his struggle against his own nightmares. We have reached the end of our story. Until we meet again in another horror tale.